Hello, everyone. Looks like we are live. Trying something a little bit different tonight. I've actually, wait, which side? I've got French fry and nugget in here since French fry was so upset that he didn't get his normal play date, his 8 p.m. play date with Nugget. So Matt brought Nugget in here. We'll see how this goes with the two of them. Nugget usually doesn't hang out in this room. He's quite confused on why he's in here without his dad. Birds, if you don't, this is an art video. Why am I talking about birds? We'll get to your art stuff in a second. But just so you're like, what are you talking about? Birds aren't like dogs where they're like, I'm just a family pet and I love everybody. They have like their human that they bond to, and Nugget is definitely bonded to Matt. So while he's cool with me, he's sweet, he also is kind of stressed, like, where's my dad? You're not my dad. So anyway, there we go. That is what's happening here. We'll see if they move. Wait, can you see them better if I go that way? There we go. Nugget is way smaller than French fry. Anyway, let's get on to this. So tonight we are critiquing your submissions, and we don't have that many. But what I thought I would do, we had a, well, it's because it's from last week's leftover. Let's go through a couple announcements. I mentioned this again last week. I talked about it, and then in the email today. If you're not signed up for my email newsletter, you should be. But I only send it out once a week. You get art tips, you get whatever videos went live, which is now going to be kind of cool because I've got a lot. Like, I recorded so many this week. I'm editing them now. So like, we'll have actual art tips on YouTube, or like just quick little art videos, and a phone case review, because I'm really mad at this one company, and I thought I'd let everyone else know. If you don't fall for the ad I fell for, they're liars. But anyway, so that video is also going to be going up because it doesn't matter with the algorithm. It doesn't seem to matter anymore. Anyway, so those are coming. I'm excited. And it's blue in here because I've got my reef tank. It has the blue lights. So yeah, that is why it's blue on one side. I've got my plant light over here, and I probably should have brought in a real face light, but I did not because I am lazy. Anyway. So the critiques we're going to be doing for Patreon members at least once a month. Like, that's the plan. Sometimes twice if there's a lot of submissions, but I want to, and I may end up changing it to where it's only the higher tiers depending on how many submissions come in. But for now, I'm going to keep that open. So once a month we'll do one of these lives, and these will be public. So you have to be a member to submit, but everybody gets to watch and get those tips. And then the Patreon only videos that I'm going to be doing, the beginner lessons, those will be live still. So if you're a member, you still get our Wednesday night live streams. But they sometimes will be shorter, they'll sometimes be longer. It'll allow me to do videos that are, really, you two? It allows me to do videos that are longer if I need to. If, like, let's say I want to do watercolor and colored pencil, or just colored pencil and powder blender. I never do that because it takes, like, I can't get it done in a short period of time. So that's going to fix that. We can do it in 2 parts if we have something a little bit longer. Super excited about that. So huge bonus for Patreon members. I'll be editing those down with higher quality footage too the next day. So if you're like, webcam's not that great, it's okay. I've got you covered. I'll be Matt, I have plans. I'm excited to improve all of this. It's just going to be better for everybody. And then the edited version will be over on YouTube for free. So if you want to watch live, that will be Patreon only. Let's see, what else? Okay, so the thing I had asked for last week were suggestions. If there was something on Patreon you would like me to do, you would like to see more of, something that you're like, I don't know, we need this, but maybe we could do this instead. Someone had an amazing suggestion. Let me pull that up. Let's see if I can actually find it. I probably should have pulled it up beforehand. I'm not even, it's going to take me too long. But she basically was saying, what if, instead of sometimes doing always critiques, because the critiques I require them to be finished projects so I can give a full critique. But what if, for those of you who are stuck, you keep not finishing paintings because you get stuck and you don't know how to finish them, so you start something new. What if I allow sometimes submit something that's unfinished that you were just stuck on? You don't know where to go with it. Send that to me. And right now, if you are a member over on Patreon, you can find the link. You have to go back like 2 weeks for submitting a critique. Submit it tonight. I can probably do 2, maybe 3 tonight. So the first ones that come in through, if you have something that you are stuck on, that you're just like, I don't know where to go with this, you've got the link on how to send that to me over on Patreon. Actually, let me pull that up and I'll put it in the chat just in case, that post. Whoops. Actually, no, that post is not there. Because I do think we're going to have a little bit of extra time tonight. We've got our sketchbook challenges or prompts. Here we go. Nope. Yep. There's the critique one. Nope. That's the link for the critique. Where's the link for how to enter? I think it was the previous one. Nope, that's our new Facebook group. Art critique submission info. Here we go. I can copy the link. This, I'm going to put it in the chat. So if you are a member, I can just click the wrong button apparently. If you're a member, if you want to submit something you're stuck on, give me as much information in that email as you can. You know, this is what I was going for. I don't know how to achieve it. This is the problem I'm running into. I need to know as much as I can. So if you want to do that again, I can probably hit about 3 tonight. So we will, that is the plan. Okay, so let's get started with these projects. The first one I actually want to show you. I'm super excited. I want to brag about Lily. She submitted for a critique. This was a couple months ago. This deer, and it's so pretty. And I gave her some tips, and she applied those tips. Oh my gosh! Wait, where is it? Is it this one? It's this one. Look at the before and after here on the one on the left. I mean, they're both gorgeous, but look at the difference in the depth that she created in those trees. In the trees in the foreground look amazing. This is just so, I'm so excited. So excited with the work. So this is what she did, taking my advice from the critique, and she went back and made the changes to the painting. And it's so cool. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Oh, we also have a super chat from Oriole Beagle. Oh, did I scare you by moving? We'll see how this goes. French Fry, I don't actually know if he will leave Nugget, his best friend, for a treat right now. Let's find out. Hold on, I should have prepped these. I don't have my pistachio cut up. Hold on, let me find a razor blade in here. I keep a razor blade in this desk just so I can use it as a little chopper for his pistachios. Otherwise, he'll eat the whole pistachio. He's really tiny, so that pistachio is like parrotlet size. Let me just chop that up, hopefully without chopping my fingernail again. I hate when I do that. Okay, you want a snack? Here, you want to come over here? French Fry, come. You're not going to leave your friend, are you? Fine, you want it there? Or did it, does that scare you, Nugget? Here, I will put it there. You can eat it there. Well, it brought Nugget over, so here's Nugget, the little one. God, I'm so used to French Fry. Nugget is just so tiny. I mean, they're both tiny, but there we go. Okay, thank you so much, Oriole Beagle. French Fry thanks you. He's back on my chair over there eating his super chat. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull this back up. You're going to sit here? So let me pull up. I've got to download. First, we've got from Holly tonight. So let me download these really quick. Whoops. Every time I move, he kind of freaks out. He's really not used to being in here, as you can tell. I know. You can follow your friend. There's lots of things to play with in here. It's a bird-safe room, mostly. Got bird-safe plants, got a lid on the fish tank, got toys everywhere. Go explore. Don't eat my necklace. French Fry. Okay, let's see. So we've got those saved. Oh, I should have that separate. Hold on. You need to be, whoops, that's not what I need. Let me fix, I didn't realize I have everything in the wrong place right now. Sorry, we'll get going on this here in just a moment. Critiques, who was I on? That was Holly. Let me find that one. Holly. Did I save them all? Let's find out. You can close. Do I really need you both now? Where did that, it didn't say where I needed it to save. Download. Oh, that's why it went to, sorry, I'm super unprepared apparently and distracted by, who's here now? French Fry. Where is it? Critiques. Once I get the flow going here, we'll be good, but I just have to figure out where the file is because apparently I don't know the alphabet. Okay, save. There we go. And save. And save. There's two for some reason of the artwork. I'm not sure why yet. I'm going to guess that it will tell us. So let's pull these up. Oh man, is that, oh, I love this. Okay, what does Holly say? Please consider my submission for your critique on March 26th. Well, how about the week after? Because A while back, my niece asked if I would paint a picture of her surrounded by butterflies. Here's my attempt. The background is a looser, more abstract. I'm not concerned with that. The figure herself, I was going for realism while still looking painterly. I'm okay with the body, but disappointed that it doesn't look like her. I'm attaching the painting, 2 versions, just different lighting, and the reference photo. Okay, that explains the 2 paintings. This is gorgeous, Holly. Let's go ahead. Oh no, Linda, I'm sorry. Why don't, oh, there's not stars where you're at right now. Did the lightning? Oh, the lighting, not lightning. I'm not focused. Okay, so let's take a look first. So 2 different lighting on these. Okay, these aren't different enough. I think we can, yeah, we don't need both up right now. Okay. Okay, I see what you mean. It looks like her, but I see where you're, like, there's similarities, but not exact. So I see what you're talking about. So a couple things. First, I love the background. Love how soft it is. This stump, I know you said you weren't worried about the background. That stump, I'm just going to start there and kind of work my way forward. We got time tonight, so we're going to go into this. I would probably remove the stump. I feel like it's a little, it doesn't fit with that background. Like, it just seems like it's floating there. So I probably would just paint over that and cover it. The butterflies, now watch when you do butterflies, you've got a couple at different angles, but they have a very copy-paste look. They're mostly the same angle. You've got some that are more yellow, some that are more orange. What I have found with butterflies, because I have done this myself, depending on the size, but I've done where I put so much work into the subject and I kind of rush through the butterflies, and it's noticeable. When you put as much work as you did into this portrait, I'd like to see a little bit more work on the shading and details, and I get it, they're probably tiny. Does it say what size this was? No. I understand why they would not be that detailed, but right now they have a very sticker feel, which you said you were going for an abstract painterly look, so that may be fine for you too. But I would probably adjust that too, because you're right, you hit the realism with her. The lighting looks so good. Welcome back, Nugget. The lighting looks so, so, so good. Now, this is actually a really good, good example of when you get reference photos. If you can find a photo like yours where the light is dappled, it will instantly make your artwork look amazing if you can include that. Include dappled lighting. Pet portrait, animal portrait, people portrait, include the dappled lighting. It looks so good. It always elevates the work. So absolutely keep doing that. The rock looks pretty good. Like, this is great. I like the hint of grass without it being super, like, I love, love, love so much about this. So let's talk about what you were actually bothered by, was that it doesn't look. So we're going to zoom into her face, because that seems to be where you weren't as happy with it. Okay. So the things that we're having here, we want more shading, defining things. So her face it's a little too even. Like, you've got it a little bit darker. Is that showing? Let me make sure that's showing. Sometimes I hit the wrong button and my mouse doesn't show on screen. No, we're good. Okay, we could go a lot darker here. So let me pull up my handy. This is the first thing we're going to start with. Actually, there's a couple things I'm going to do, but let's start with new. Drive Joseph crazy because I don't do the Photoshops the way that makes sense. I'm always embarrassed to do Photoshop stuff in front of other people, especially in a case like this, when I know somebody is watching who knows how to do this stuff properly. I kind of gimp my way through it without, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to get what I want done, just not always the best way. Okay, let's go layer fill, solid color, color fill. Okay. I've got to move some stuff around because I was using Photoshop on the other computer and it gets all, you don't care. Okay, and I want to go bigger on this. There we go. So here's my little color matchy guy. So let's start with, we've got a few things going on. First, let's start with the actual color and see, did you get freaked out? You don't know where to land. I guess that works. So if we look at the darks on her, we can see where that color is. And this isn't frozen or anything, is it? No, it's just delayed. There we go. We can see that color. There we go. Versus what you have is a lot lighter, a lot lighter. So when you mute or you don't have the contrast with your lights and darks as dark as they need to be, it can change the structure of the face. It doesn't quite look the same. So like that right there distorts it just a bit. So that, yeah, and Nick said, I think it looks like her, and I think, I agree. It does have similarities, but I also see what you're talking about. Oh, she says the painting is a 12 by 24 inch. Ooh, yeah, you didn't have a lot of room for those butterflies, did you? Those are tiny. That makes more sense. So I get it, but I would focus not so much on detail and more on lighting on them. Get the darks a little darker, lights a little lighter, just so you have a little bit more depth, and mix the like future paintings. I want to go back and change this. I think they're fine, but on future paintings, I would try to get different angles there for sure. But anyway, let's go back to this. So I like where you made, it looks like this is a little lighter on her nose. Good. Make the lights lighter, the darks darker, but don't make them more muted. Don't make the darks lighter and the lights darker. Like you don't want to bring them to the middle. You want to kind of separate those more. That helps. But like your shadow here, I would make your darks a bit darker. Look how dark that shadow. It's not black. You might look at that and go, oh, black, scary. Yeah, I wouldn't do black either, but look at the difference in those darks. You can darken her arm here, the shadow there versus the shadow here. Those things will make a big difference in having it look more three-dimensional and more realistic. The next thing you've got on her, and this is one of the things you really want to watch on kids especially, if we look at her, oops, wrong one. I'm going to zoom in on her face. And again, 12 by 24 is not big for how big, like this is a full body. I don't know that I would attempt it. So you did an amazing job considering it's kind of a smaller scale. So that absolutely, like, I think that's just something that you need to keep in mind. Also, the canvas has a bit of tooth that's going to make it harder for you to get that detail. Okay, let's look at the tier line right here. Let me do a new layer on both of these. New layer, and we're going to go drawing, and then a new layer, new layer. Look, I even titled them this time. Well, you can't see, my face is in the way. Okay. So we're going to clean a few things up. Who's over here right now? Oh, both of you. Nugget, you are not relaxed at all. You should be having fun. Also, oh no, yeah, that's just your frumpy feathers. Okay. So, few things here. One, let's pull that brighter. I'm probably going to have to change my brush size. Oh yeah. Jeez, that was a big brush. Oh. Let's go with you. And opacity, okay, much smaller. So if we look at her tier line right in here, this shouldn't be solid dark. So what it looks like when you have that is like she's wearing eyeliner. So with children, this is something that you especially want to watch because it ages them. It makes them, it will instantly, if you make the eyelashes and the lips, if you go too dark on either one of those, it makes it look like they're wearing makeup where you don't want them to be. Same thing with the eyebrows, which you didn't go too dark on the eyebrows, but that is certainly something that you want to watch for. I would not go that dark. Now I get it. You don't have so much of the individual detail with the individual hairs there, but I still wouldn't go that dark right there. So you know how I was talking about make the darks darker, make the lights lighter, except like my general rule is not to do it on any sorts of wrinkles on the face, like smile lines, not on outlines around the eyelashes. Don't make eyelashes, eyebrows, or lips. Do not make those darker. Don't make the shadows under this portion of the cheek darker. Now, when I said the shadow here, that you can make darker. That's not going to be looked at as makeup because that makeup look instantly ages the person, and now you're in that kind of trap of, well, it doesn't really look how I like the person to me. So those are a few things that you can you want to watch for. Now this I would make darker. I want to make it at least as dark as what it is. I don't want it lighter. So that's one thing that you're having happen a little bit more here. And also I would probably go with a dark brown. So we've got like this deep chocolate brown, whereas yours is more of a gray. Don't go with gray on that. And the reason that happened is it was wet. It was mixing in with the skin tone colors, all that. Let it dry before you go on to your next. But that difference is a big one. It should be darker, but it should be brown, like a dark brown versus, hi, is it Nugget? It's Nugget. Brown versus a medium gray. That's going to help. And I know you're thinking, well, that's not really the whole problem. No, you're right. But those are just a few. It's just a lot of these little things that when you bring them all together, that's what is going to make a difference in the, like capturing the likeness of the person. And they're minor differences, but those things will matter. So, couple things. So we've got that. Hi, there's a bird on the back of my neck. That feels like French fry. Hi. I can tell because you're more confident sitting on me. So the next thing that I want to do, I do this, I can't pull it on. Let's see if I can do it on this one. I usually do it on this monitor, so this is going to feel weird and uncomfortable for me. I'm going to make a new one. Let's pull this. I'm going to shrink that one because I want to save it. But I want to crop just her face because that's really what we're going to focus on right now. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. Sorry. No, this isn't what I wanted. This is what I wanted. How did I do that? You know what? I don't even know why I just used something. I don't know what it is. It'll be faster for me to just start over. Joseph is face palming like crazy right now. I can see it. Like I know what the look on his face is. Okay, let's do that again and hit the right one. There we go. And I'm going to zoom in a bunch. And one of the things, we may have to trace it to really be able to tell. We'll see. Oops, don't do it again. What I'm going to do is overlay this one on top of this one. And when I'm working on a portrait, whoops, and I am stuck, I do this a lot. Actually, you're going to be a booger, aren't you? There we go. And I have to make that way bigger. And transparent. Oops, that wasn't what I wanted you to do. What are you? Oh, I'm duplicating things like crazy. What in the world have I even done? There. That was very... Joseph knows what I did, and he's just like, oh my God. You are going to be transparent while I line this up. I should have cropped that first. Oh my gosh, I am wasting everyone's time so bad right now. Hold on, I've got to do it this way. I should have cropped that one too because my screen is not going to allow me to... And if you're like, why are you duplicating it? So I don't have to pull it back up, because I might want the full-size one too. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying that's the reason. Okay, let's try that again. So the reason that I need to shrink this one down is if I don't, it won't allow me to really stretch it enough. What are you doing? Drag onto here. Why are you not doing the thing that I want you to do? I must have something set wrong on here because I should be able to just drag that. But I am apparently having some issues here. Oh, that's why. And you just are going to have to go away. Yep, figured it out. Okay, let's try that again and pretend I know what I'm doing. Okay, so by making that transparent, I can overlay them and double check and kind of see what might be a little bit off. There are several ways that we can do this, but this is the first we're going to go with. And I'll just pick any area and just try to match it up as close as possible. Man, you got the angle like really similar, but we can already see if I line up the eyes. Those eyes are pretty close. No, I'm not that close. See, if I make the eyes right, then the face isn't quite right. So it makes it more obvious where something may need a little bit of adjusting. See how it's not possible for me to match both sides, and her chin and her mouth, everything ends up being a little bit not in the right location. It's close, but not quite. Now, I am not saying I have this exact, but we're getting there. See how if I go in enough that her ears are matching up and like her hand is closer, then her face is not the right shape. So see, by overlapping, or if her hand is in the right place and about the right size, now her eyes are way too low. And her chin now is in about the right place, but her lips and her eyes are not in the right place. See how you can just kind of see where things are off? It gives you an idea. Now, I don't need to match this up perfectly, but it gives me an idea, like there's some kind of major, like the initial drawing may have been exact, and I have this happen all the time. You can trace it, and still when you start painting, you're like, your brush strokes start making this a little farther left, a little farther right, and it kind of starts to warp into something not quite the same. And so that's really what's happening here. It's close, it's not exact. So the other thing that we can do is flip this. Whoops, that's not what I meant. Let's make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to go, and this is another way that really helps. Where's my mouse? Wrong one. Nope, wrong one. Image. There we go. And you, I need to be a bit larger as well. And you are also going to have to flip upside down. Okay, now we want to get them about the same size and side by side. And this really helps you to see things that we want to adjust. You will notice so much more stuff. Okay. Right away, you're going to be able to see tons and tons of stuff that we get out of the way. So we can start seeing a lot of the stuff. For one, let's look at her hair. I didn't even know, and that's the weird thing. It's like I was looking at it, but I wasn't really focusing that much on her hair. But when I flipped it upside down, I'm suddenly noticing so much more with the contrast. That's like the first thing that stands out to me. So look how light her hair needs to be where the light is hitting it, which you want to take advantage of. This is a great photo for a portrait. The dappled light is like, I love, but I want to see those darks a little bit darker. And same with her hair. Her hair can be a lot darker in the darks. You have almost this grayish tone. And that's going to happen anytime you're mixing where white gets in with your black, even a little bit. You're going to have that. Or if you're using a kind of cream tone and that gets in with your black, your opaque colors like that, you're going to get that more grayish tone. But if you can get that a lot lighter, get your darks a bit darker, that's going to give her that very shiny, shiny hair look. So that would be one thing. But yeah, I mean, we can see more easily. Look at the shape of her face here. Let's pull my pen up. Look at how this is shaped versus this is just kind of, please work for me. Oh, because I'm drawing on the wrong one. How this is shaped. Like this has almost a roundness. You're completely missing where it comes in and then comes back out. I mean, you have very big difference on those two. On just the face alone, like we're missing part of her face over here. Her ear, that is a bright orange to make it look like the light is coming through. Take advantage of that. If you get those brights, like when the light is coming through something, like an ear, looks so good. So definitely do more with that. We have, let's see, her eyebrow. You've got a really big gap between her eyebrow here and here that do not exist. In the reference photo, there is her eyebrow at this angle almost touches that line there. We've got more of a skin tone in here and then the brown for the crease there. This one, we're back to that grayish tone. I really want to lose, I'm not going to say there are never exceptions, but this is not one of them. Lose the gray as much as you can when it comes to portraits. That it's just not, I know I always say color doesn't matter. It's more about the values. Well, the values are off anyway, but the color, like, and just glaze the color over it. It is such an easy fix, but that is certainly an issue. We have this line is just a line. That really shouldn't be. We want to curve that so it's around her nose. It stops and we've got a little bit here. Don't make that such a definite, like it's too definite. And so that's, whoops, that's one of those things that, edit, redo, that will age somebody. When you over define lines, and you've really got to watch it on kids, it will age them. This one, same thing where we've got, I mean, the line is okay, but it should come here and then it's more defined like that, where that cheek is. So these little things, they all add up. And you may look at that and go, okay, that little line, no big deal. But all these little things are what adds up. And this is why it doesn't look as much like her as you want it to. I mean, it looks like her, but not, I certainly see what you're talking about. This shadow, this, you've got a bluish purple you should have right in here, and in here, I would define that a little bit more. You've got a shadow that comes out here and here, and that's going to make it feel like, and it's a brownish tone, a brownish reddish tone. It's going to make it feel like her eyes are a little bit wider. Without that, it gives you the illusion that her eyes are too close together, because that's not what she looks like. She should have, I mean, look at right in here, there's that shadow. And again, they seem like such minor things, but all together, they come together to make the whole thing. Again, brownish red. And when I talk about the color, let me pull that back up. Come on. How many times do you need me to click on that? Oh, the wrong thing is clicking. That's why it's over on the other screen. See, this is what happens when I do things. I'm not. There we go. Okay. When I talk about the color, so like in here, look at how, I mean, that is a brownish, like, you know, you're kind of reddish brown. Whereas on yours, we get into more of those grayish, more muted tones. It's not dark enough and it's still that more muted. We want to definitely make that stand out more. We've got that more. Look at the difference in the contrast, the values there. So these things, it's not simply, I mean, part of it is that the drawing is not 100% accurate. And when it's portraits, like I heard there was an airbrush artist. So he was charging like $4,000 back in, when would this have been? 2000, 2001. I mean, it was a long, 2002 maybe. I don't know. But he worked at Coast Airbrush, and somebody asked him how he felt about using projectors. And he goes, you know, if somebody is going to pay me $4,000 to paint their kid, it better look like their kid. So I think that's kind of a good attitude. People have a tendency, artists, art elitists, I should say, will do the whole, oh, you traced, it's not real art. The buyer doesn't give a crap. They want what they want. They don't care how you achieved it. That makes no difference to them. They care what the end result is. And it's only these art elitists that care. So if you didn't use a projector, you didn't trace, I would recommend doing that. It will really help you. But there's also the possibility you did. And just as you make brush strokes, stuff starts moving where you didn't quite want it. So that's also a thing. And they're minor, but like I said, those minor things, I see what you're talking about. Like her mouth, look at how far out this shadow, look at this shadow, how far out that comes. I mean, that basically should meet where her little cheek is here. Those two things pretty much touch. On yours, they don't. And again, minor, but it will make a difference in the end there. So yeah, those are my little bits of advice. I think you did it's beautiful. I mean, you saw my first reaction to it is, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. But you had your specific questions, and that is those are my tips. But working upside down, this is going to be one of the things that helps you more than, like, it makes you notice things. And not just working upside down, but take a photo and put them side by side like this, and it's like, oh, I see this, I see this, I see this. I do that to mine all the time. You will notice stuff you just, like, it's crazy, the stuff you notice when they're side by side, upside down. So, okay. One beautiful, beautiful painting, though. You should be very proud of this. What? I know. Oh, you heard Dad cough? I don't think I'll bring Nugget in here. I feel bad for him. He's very upset that Matt is not in here. Okay. I'll have him come get him in a bit. Actually, let me message him now that Nugget's had. This will be funny. I'm going to have Matt come get Nugget because he's kind of hanging off the bed. He's not comfortable and he hears Matt and he got all excited. So I'm like, fine, you can go back in with Dad. But I have to manage to keep French Fry in here. But French Fry got his fill of his friends, so we're good for now. While we wait for Matt, let's pull up. Whoa, that is awesome. We have Melinda. Let me go ahead and save these. And pull these up. Actually, did I message Matt or did I message my mom? No, I messaged Matt. Okay. Could go either way. That is so cool. Okay. Oh, we have my thing's in the way. I can only see part of it. I see that there's a super chat. I don't see. We have from DJ said, I hear a tweet. Do you guys want a super chat? Will you take it? French Fry will take it. I don't know if Nugget will take anything right now. He's just calling for Matt. You want anything, Nugget? No, French Fry's going to have 2 then. Okay. Actually, that's probably going to fall off when Matt finally sees the text and comes and gets his bird. Thank you so much, DJ. Yeah, Matt, I can tell he's coming because the birds. Give me just a second and we'll talk about this. I'm going to have to fetch my own bird when he opens the door. Here, I'm sure he'll fly to you if you just open it. Go on, Nugget. He every time you cough, he starts calling for you. No, not you, French Fry. Come here, French Fry. Come here, baby. Nope. Close the door quick. Okay. Oh, I got a French Fry in my hair. Okay. I can tell Matt was on his way because the other birds are losing their crap right now because he left the room and they're calling for him. Okay. I know you got to see your friend for over half an hour. I don't feel bad for you like I did last week. You're good. He was going to go to bed soon anyway. Okay. So this one, he loves French Fry. It's so cute. Or Nugget. We have from Melinda, and she says, I'm so excited for you to get to see my art. Me too. It's awesome. I wouldn't be at this level if it weren't for you. Oh my gosh. Yay. Thank you. The full 16 by 20 on Canson drawing board. French Fry, you calm down. You got to see your friend. 16 by 20 on a Canson drawing board, Derwent Lightfast and Polychromos. My goal for this piece was to accentuate the fabric. I love drawing fabric and textures, obviously. I feel like I struggled. He'll calm down in a minute. I apologize if he's deafening anyone. He's deafening me, but it's cute, so I'm okay with it. I feel like I struggled with the skin. I couldn't get it as light as the reference photo, but I really enjoyed the process. Thank you, Melinda. Okay. Let's see. Actually, here. You want your snacks over there now? Here, have some snacks, since you don't normally eat those ones on my desk anyway. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So colored pencil, dang, 16 by 20 is big on colored pencil too. The fabric, it looks so good. I like how yours has more of that texture. Like it looks really, really good. The only thing on the fabric, I would say you could probably on some of the highlights, not the neck, but like in the oranges, you probably could go a little bit lighter, but not all of them. Some of them are darker. See, now this is one of those where I can point out what the difference is, but I'm not saying that doing it exactly like the reference would make it better. So I just lost the stream. Hold on. Hopefully it's still going. It looks like it. I've got a bit rate warning. Yeah, it looks like we're still here. Okay. No, you're not going to help yourself to treats. So you have lines in here. Let's get so that'll actually show up more. I don't know if that'll show up that well. This is so colorful. So some of these lines back here, and again, this is me pointing out the difference, but that doesn't mean that the difference would make it better. It just makes it's just different. Your lines here are really, really harsh, whereas they're softer on the sleeve, which gives you a little bit more depth. Being softer on that sleeve does add more depth because it feels a little bit farther away. I like that mixture of harsh and soft lines where like maybe these ones are a bit harsher, those would be a little bit softer. That's a personal preference. It is not that makes it better, that makes it worse situation, because what you have is so good. There's a few areas where you probably could pull dark's a little bit darker, like in here. If we darkened that up on yours, again, just adding a little bit more depth. So what's happening right now, we have, and I don't even want to say that because you still have darks, but like some of the darks, if we had the shadow in this area, that is going to add more depth to the piece overall. You've got it like back here. You've got the, like some areas have dark, like perfect. And some areas it's like, yeah, I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity here if we could push that back a little bit. Yours is a brighter red, and being brighter, it makes it feel closer to the viewer. So you're kind of missing out on some of the depth. If we, actually, let me just do another layer and show you. Layer, new layer. I'll have to have Matt bring Nugget in here occasionally a little bit more often so he's more comfortable if I ever bring him in for a live stream again. Okay. So if we just darken, no. That's what I'm looking for. Whoops, too much. If we start darkening some areas, beep, and pushing them back a little bit, it just adds a little bit more to the realism. I mean, you've already got such great realism, but if we can push, that's a little too dark. Oh, I lost my layer, that's why. I hit undo one too many times, as I always do. This is way too dark. Why are you that dark? Whatever. Just in those few spots, if we can darken and it pulls this part of the sleeve, feels like it's closer to you if portions of it are pushed back a little bit. If we just darken some of that. I'm going to do this too because I make poor choices. There we go. What? No, that's not what I did. That's what I did. Okay, so if we just, and that was a terrible version of it, but you can see how already you have a little bit more depth by darkening that. It pulls part of the sleeve forward, so you get a little bit more dimension. You have to remember that making something look super realistic, it's not just about the detail, which you've mastered. It's also about those values. And you've got the high contrast too, so it's a little bit like weird to just straight out say, oh, make your darks darker, your lights lighter. Not everywhere. It's certain areas that I think could really use it to get that more realistic look. Now, as you said, you didn't get the whites light enough, and I think that it really does need to be lighter. And this is easy to do. You're working in colored pencil. Take a Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser, erase the parts that need to be lighter, and go over it with your light pencil. And you can probably go over it with your polychromos white, and it will get light enough. I would probably go that route and just use... maybe I would do a test on a sample to find out which gave me the results that I like a little scratch piece of the same paper you're working on. But I definitely think that the lights need to be lighter. I feel that the darks are way too dark for how dark the skin tone is. It doesn't look as much like a clown as much as almost warped skin, if that makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of how to describe that. But yeah, I really do think that that would be worth, and especially because you put so much into that fabric. So much. That fabric is so incredible. The neck, the collar, oh my gosh. This is just stunning, stunning. And you could still, I mean, if you wanted to, it is still possible to go over the face and make those whites whiter. Look at how dark the side of his face is here. Make that darker than what you have. Tone down the wrinkles. The wrinkles are a bit too much. You can get away with that on fabric, but when you do it on a person, it gives it a very inhuman. Like it doesn't have that human look as much. It's too much. Like almost like a mask, like a human mask is what it feels like. And you're going for more of a makeup than mask look. So I would certainly tone those down. And it's such an easy fix. You've already done the hard work. So these, by going over it with a dark, so you've got more of this reddish. I know, beep, beep, baby bird, beep. I've got more things open than I need to be. Let me close this. No, and close this. Baby, baby. Okay. Beep. So what was I going to do? Oh yeah, we're looking at colors. Look at the color look at where we are on the side of his face, how dark, that dark reddish, that really rich color. Now yours will probably have more of a purple color. I would probably go more like this color that you've got. So a little bit more, you know, so it matches what you've got going. But that's a lot darker than what yours is. So make those darks in the face darker. And by putting the pencil over it, by working over what you have, that's going to tone down the wrinkles. But they're muscle. That is what it looks like to me. It looks like more like muscle without the skin. What, you think that's funny? Why are you laughing? That's just rude. Don't mind him. He has no manners. But it has more of that muscly, sinewy look. And I'd like it to look more like skin. And by softening some of these out, your wrinkles are mostly in the right location. You don't have a lot of work to do. Like this line, that needs to be blue. Oh, there we go. It needs to be blue for sure, not black, because that looks like again, you're getting that sinewy, muscly look. And then look at the lights. I mean, you're almost white, not quite. You don't need it quite white, but you're close. I mean, really light. I know, peekaboo. And again, Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser, don't push hard with it. Just kind of lightly go back and forth in the area. I would lift up some of those wrinkles so they're not as dark. And then I would go over all of this. Try first light hand, and again, I would do a sample, but I would probably try first with, see how the polychromos white, and why I say polychromos white versus the Derwent Lightfast white, you said Derwent Lightfast or Derwent Drawing? Derwent Lightfast. The Derwent Lightfast is going to be even more opaque, and that might be too much. It might be perfect. I don't know. I would do a little experimenting and figure out which one worked. The reason I'm leaning towards polychromos is it's not going to be as stark, but it'll be a lot lighter. Only if you erase with the the Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser, though. Like yeah. Did somebody say they were going to toss it? Nobody said. No tossing of anything here. This is absolutely amazing. Are you here with us? Are you in the room with us, Melinda? I don't see if Melinda's in the chat. No, this is absolutely no. Or maybe you guys are talking about something else. Oh, you might be talking about something else. Yeah, no, we're not throwing anything. Oh, certainly not here. This is like absolutely wonderful. But again, if we just do a little work on the face, like even the work on the clothes, that's kind of minor. You can adjust it. You could just leave it a little. Okay, you are here. You can adjust it if you want a little bit. You really don't. That's not as big of a deal. The face is what I do feel is just, you've got the skill, and I would really like to see that area worked on a little bit more. And I've got a video showing you, just Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser. Erase that area, it'll go totally wide again. Like, it is incredible what happens when you use that eraser to lightly lift. You're not trying to erase to white. It's not even about lightening or changing the color of the paper at all. It's about removing the wax and oil buildup of the pencils that is currently there so that more pencil will stick on top of it. If you don't remove that, it won't. So it doesn't matter. You're not, like I said, it doesn't matter if you're lightening the paper, but it has to be the Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser. No other eraser is really going to achieve what you need here. It's a baby bird, and they're not expensive. A few bucks, I don't know. Like they're not super expensive. 100% worth getting. Blick carries them, Amazon carries them. Like it is so worth it to you. I know some of you guys remember Conejo, who is kind of the crap talker. Everyone thinks he's a troll. He's actually a friend, but I've known him for since 2012, and he is just that he likes to talk a lot of crap, but people think he's being mean to me, and he's not. That's just Conejo. Anyway, he's the one who got me hooked on those erasers. It's funny. We can all thank Conejo on that one. He sent me a bunch from Mexico, and they're not labeled quite. They're still Faber-Castell, but they're called something else, and the coating on them is different. I use those things I've been using them for so long, and there is no eraser that compares to this. If you work in colored pencil, no matter what pencils you like, that is something you want to get. And I don't have one in here, but it's a pencil eraser, and so you sharpen it so it's easy to control. And I used to use electrical erasers a lot with colored pencils. The problem is that it tends to gum up, and it's not. Oh, you think that's funny too? I mean, I guess the results were kind of funny. It just doesn't work that great for colored pencil. It's kind of it kind of works, but not like those. Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser, lighten the areas and soften those wrinkles that defined in the fabric. Wonderful, less wonderful in the skin. Just soften that up. This is so good. But let's look a little bit too at the color. So I'm hoping that you still have this and you can make these adjustments. But And be gentle with that eraser. Like you could burn through it if you're not used to using it. Like it's a rough one. But let's look at how light, like look at these lighter creams. We want to get those lighter creams. Look how dark. I mean, that is a big jump. And this is going to make his face look more three-dimensional. The wrinkles around the eyes, those can be a little bit more defined. You don't want to soften those as much, but like these wrinkles are a lot softer and a lot thicker. We don't want so skinny together. Like we don't want them to be that defined. But as we move in, a little bit lighter, lighter, way lighter, a little darker, but not nearly as dark as what we had over on the other side. So these are the things we want to look at. Like the nose, you could make the dark on the nose a little bit darker so that the light looks that much lighter. But that's not as much of a, not as big of a deal. Here's an area. Look at this. Right now, you switch to the pen. Okay, so look at how this comes out here. That is, oh, because I still have, that is why. And not color burn, normal, there we go. Look at how this comes, too big, out like this. It shouldn't. This nose comes out and it's more of that kind of Roman nose shape. So these little things, I mean, it's like we were talking about on the last portrait, those little things add up to making it look more like the person, although I mean, it doesn't really matter if it looks that much like the person, but it's good practice. But yeah, toning down all of these wrinkles, like in here, these wrinkles start looking like hair instead of the eyebrows. Here, you've got eyebrows that are painted over, but up here, those are really, like you want to just soften those. Yeah, perfection eraser, tone it down, go back over it with your pencils, and I think you can make this even better, which is saying something because, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, those would be my things there. And like I said, darkening a few of these, like here could be a little bit darker. And that's more optional. It's the face is really what I think I would focus on. I'm just pointing out things that are different from the original, and you can get more depth by making some of those dark areas a little bit darker. Yeah, people who have, DJ said, who's Conejo? Conejo was driving people crazy, and he realized it. He's like, I don't want to hurt your live streams, I'll stop. But he also can't just be nice, because it's like not possible. So yeah, he was driving people in the chat crazy because they thought that he was just trolling, and they're like, why aren't you kicking this person out? And it's like, because that's just him, and it doesn't bother me because I know him well. Like we've talked on the phone enough times. I'm just used, that is his sense of humor. So yeah. Oh, what do we have here? I hope you read this email. Sorry for the bad English. I am not one to judge anyone else's English. And obviously, this is not your first language. It's mine. I don't have any excuse for my English to not be good. You do. Okay, let's see. This is, let me pull this up. First, we will pull up. You'll see in a second why I'm all excited about this. That's my painting. She followed the lesson, and it is amazing. Like, this is her own take on that lesson, and I love it. Ah, such a good job. Such a good, like, I like the changes you made in the composition. So mine, just to show you, and well, I've got to read the email still, but just to show you if you're unfamiliar, this is so cool. I love seeing, and I love that you didn't do it exact, that you did your own take on it, and it's so awesome. So let's take a look. I'll show you what the lesson is, what my painting is, and Ravens. So she took it. I know, beep a beep a beep a beep. Where's the photo? Full, here it is. So there's my original painting, the actual, but mine's on a round canvas. She turned it into the square, and it looks so cool, and she added the starfish and seashells and sponges and all this really cool. I love this take on the painting. So really, really happy with that. Okay, let's see what this is from Angelique. She says, let's see. Angelique from Holland. Oh, my dad's from Holland. I mean, not my bio dad, so I can't say that I have those awesome genes, but yay. I'm watching your videos on YouTube for at least 13 years. Wow. And never had the guts to send you an email for a critique. Oh, I'm so glad you did, because this makes me super happy to see. I remember Chicken is a baby. Gee, you know, he's like 9. Is he 9 now? Or 10? think is he gonna be 10 this year? Like chicken's getting up there. I'm glad birds live so long. Anyway, let's move on. And your dark room. Yes, I'm old too. I tried to paint this beautiful painting. Mine is not as beautiful as yours. I love yours, but hey, I tried. I love your style of painting, and now I'm older. I have the time to sit down and really paint. I wanted to let you see that with a lot of help from you, I'm happy with what I made. Thank you, Lisa, for all your lessons on Patreon. I became a member 4 weeks ago. Finally, yay! And YouTube will you give a hug to all your animals, and a special for Chicken because I miss him on the videos. He's on the intro, like just walking across the street. I brought him back for the intros on one of the videos I'm editing for this week. Thank you so much. Kind regards, Angelique. So wow, this is cool. Now there's a lot of information there, but I'm not sure if there were specific areas that you felt you wanted to work on. So I'm just gonna kind of like, this is the difference between the lesson. Excuse me, I just burped like a classy lady. Hi, baby. Can I just say it was Nugget? I didn't burp, it was him. It was Nugget, or not Nugget, French fry. Which bird is with me right now? But let's talk about the things I love, the things I think we could improve. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see, does it say, it doesn't say what size. Unless, let me make sure it wasn't on another, no. Sometimes they'll come in as 2 separate emails, but no. Okay. So this really, I like the balance of this a lot. I think this is really pretty. I would probably darken a little bit. So let's get a new, let's just draw a little bit. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit more opinionated because I did the original one. There we go, new layer, here we go. So I would probably add a little bit, let's switch the brush, move you down, beep. I would probably darken this a little bit more, just kind of keep the focus more around the bird. By leaving the light as far up as it is, I feel like it just pulls the viewer's attention that way, and I would like to keep it down into where the birds are a bit more. For the birds, you can bring in, let me find the other one where you don't have, French fry. Let me add a solid color back here because layer fill solid. Beep-oo. Beep. There we go. And I'll only drop that behind it. Okay. So if we look at the birds on this one, look at the purples and the blues in there. I think it'll make the birds look a lot shinier. If you leave birds, like, and yes, they're black birds, but black, whether you be painting a black panther, a black Labrador, a black cat, they're always going to have other colors that it will look really good if you pull that color into the subject, even if it's not on the reference photo. And I don't remember my reference photo. It was something I think I got on Unsplash. So I'm not positive how colorful those were, but you can create a lot more depth and make them look very, very shiny by including purples and blues. And it's going to be the same if I'm painting a white animal, if I'm painting a black animal. It's not just going to be those blacks and whites on that subject. Actually, in a white animal, very little white. I need to do a good lesson. Let me know what medium you want to see a white subject in. A white animal. That sounds weird, right? A white animal subject. Let me know what medium you guys want, and I'll plan a lesson in the future for it. But anyway, and those of you who are over on Patreon, you can message me with subject and medium things that you would like to see. I don't do cars because they don't interest me. Like you can go look at what Pinstripe Chris, he's the car master. But other than that, when it comes to nature and wildlife, those are things that I enjoy. So those, yeah. Okay, now, speaking of grays and blacks, that brings us down into this area. If you want that to look like it's underwater, you want to get the watercolor. So that the green tone that you have, you want to, and just glaze it. You can do that right now. Glaze, mix that color, no white, no black. You're just going to do your green tone that you mixed in your background without the white and the black, and just lightly glaze it. Lots of water, a little bit of paint, and then not so much that it's like running, but you're going to tint the color, and that's going to make this feel, whoops, that's not even the right thing. That will make this, whoop, no, not the right thing. Again, Lisa, switch. Actually, I can show you. Why not just, while it's in my hand, let's pull to kind of that greenish tone, and we can very lightly, too much, got way too excited there. It makes it feel like it's underwater more. And it doesn't need to be that saturated, but it will really, Wolf and Colored Pencil and Pound Pastel. I need to, DJ, message me on either, why am I being lazy? My tablet is right here. Take the notes. Stop being lazy. DJ wants a Wolf and Colored Pencil and Pan Pastels. That is the wrong. Hold on. That is why that isn't working. Okay. You're still not working for some reason. My pen is being weird. Why are you freaking out? Okay, I wrote that down. Or email me, lisa@lachri.com, if anyone has suggestions, if I don't catch it here. Okay, so that's the first thing. We can kind of push that down. Now, my color saturation is a bit much, but you get the idea. Let's see. Oh, your anemone looks so good. I love your clownfish. God, there's so much I love about this. So I would darken up a few things underwater. I think that it's a little bit lighter. Like your up here is really light or dark. Let's increase that color saturation down here. What am I doing? Normal. You can start pulling just some of these darker areas. Get those darks a little bit darker. I mean, do a better job than what I'm doing. I'm just kind of showing you, like, if we start pulling some of those darks, you can just add a lot of depth by getting a few shadows here and there. I'm not saying these are the right shadows or to copy that exactly. I just want to show you a little bit what I mean by getting more depth in making those changes, so it makes them feel a little bit further back in water. Now, another thing that I like to do whenever I'm painting an underwater scene, I want bubbles, whether it's splattering a little bit of paint so it looks like, you know, the foamy bubbles, or by painting actual bubbles. It helps it to feel, it's one more way that you get that look of it being underwater. So that would be an additional thing that I would do there. And then when we come up to these flowers, that is going to be my next thing. Same thing. Make a few areas a little bit darker. Not a lot. And you can just do this by glazing. Like, it's such a quick, easy, like, just pick a few areas. Don't go crazy. I love your butterfly. But if we can make a few areas just a little darker, start getting a little bit more depth in there, because right now all of these leaves are the exact same, like, lightness and darkness. So it flattens them out by darkening some stuff. Same thing with the flowers. Let's get some dark. This is not the right color to use for that, but you get the idea. Oh, little hibiscus. I love these little guys. I really am liking the composition on this. On a lot of this looks really good. Peekaboo. I'm kind of using a black. Don't use black. Use a darker, like, use burgundy there. Use a darker green. Don't do as I say, not as I do. I'm just being quick about that. But if we can pull a little bit more with the shading, and again, I'm being super messy. Be clean with yours. Don't be sloppy like I'm being. But it will create a little bit more depth in that. So just see what I mean? How it's like, it just feels like you're looking into the painting a bit more than currently. And it's not even anything that's going to take that long. This is just glazing. This is such, like, quick work to do. And it looks like, did you airbrush your background? So even that, just airbrushing to darken, to pull that in, I think would make it really easy. But all of, like, the flowers, get some darks in there. Like, if we zoom in, what is your problem, sir? Oops, I'm zooming in on the wrong thing. If we zoom in, not zooming in. Why are we? Oh, because my remote turned off. That's why. There we go. Oh, hey, look how that works. You just have to turn. Oh, your zoas or your polythoas look great. I love your crab. So much about this I love. Okay. Maybe I'm just partial because, reasons. Can I zoom in on mine? Is this the big one? Yeah. If we look at the shadows, like look at this guy here, look at how we've got those definite darks and definite lights on part of this. And so it takes it from having the same amount of detail yours does, but by putting those shadows, those darks and those lights, it makes the flower look more three-dimensional. Look at the shadows in a lot of these. And that was one of the things that we talked about a lot in that video. Let your definite light areas and shadowed areas can be harsh lines. You don't have to like blend and soften everything. They can be very harsh when they're tiny like this, but you do want to get the shadows and such in there. So like we come up here to these guys. Look at how dark. You have more detail. Yours are technically more accurate than mine. But pull a little bit more of the darks in between what you already have. Now, I don't mean just slap dark all over the place. Put it where you already have darks. Like you can see the darks, just pick a few of those and make them a little bit darker in there. Add to that. When you've got a stem like this guy, you've got shadows and highlights. Make the shadows a little darker, little bit more. When we get into these guys, the little leaves, like I was talking about, your detail in there is really cool. You did them very similar to how I shade zoas, so that kind of gives you a cool mirror to the zoas or polythoas that you've got below the water and those up. So I like this size. I like how big yours are, but I would definitely make some to where you've got clumps of shadow. So look at like this whole area has that clump of shadow, these clumps of light and dark, and that is going to give you more depth as well. We've got clumps of dark under here. I love these little wispy or long wisps that you put in. I think looks so cool. That was a really cool addition. Okay, so your butterfly, same thing. Get those darks a little bit darker on parts of the butterfly, so you get that depth. That it's almost like a plum burgundy color. Getting that in there. DJ said, "Who did this? Great deal." This is Angelique. Did this one? Angelique Pruden. So yeah, great work. I would just do a little bit more glazing. And same thing now, if we zoom in on the birds, you can see what I'm talking about. And you don't even need to add more detail. The detail, you've got the detail. It's just doing a little bit of glazing. So color, thin down with water, not black and white. And well, okay, except for the dark, like if you were darkening an area that needed more black. But for the most part, yeah, she's in Holland, so they're asleep right now. If we look at the birds, so we've got the blue, look at the blues and the plums and the purples, and you can get that just by glazing it. Here's the thing, worst case scenario, you're like, okay, I'm going to glaze. Remember, no black, no white, we're glazing color. So some plum colors, some bluish tones, kind of green, a little bit of green is mixed in to tone down that blue. It's the teal, it's the same color, whatever you used in your background. But you can glaze it over. If you do a glaze and you're like, I hate it, don't wait till it dries. You can get it wet and wipe that off right now. Like don't scrub, but you can remove it if you absolutely hate it. But I think that will help. You want to use colors that are elsewhere in the painting, so it helps them to feel more like they're a part of the painting. And that's one of the things that we have to do a lot when we're working with a subject that does not look like we're not copying a photo exactly. I mean, I had a photo of ravens. Let me show you. These are the ravens. Let's see. This is from Unsplash. Those are the ravens. They do have blue. They have kind of a brownish tone as well for the highlights. Not a lot in the way of purple like I did on mine, but like I've got more of the whites pulled out and most of that. I've adjusted obviously a lot for my painting, but there is more than just black and white. We've got that bluish purple color. We've got over here this brown, reddish brown. That actually does have the purple right there. So you can get more color and just makes them look shinier. These guys for that photo is way frumpier than what I calmed the feathers down a bit on mine. But you can see when you look at it, you can kind of hype that up. And yeah, and St. John said this is also no need to change anything. Now that's the thing with any of these paintings, it's completely up to you. I'm just giving you the advice that I would get, like if I was working with you in person and you were like, how can I improve on this? These are the things I would change. That doesn't mean what you have now, and that's true for everybody. It doesn't mean what you have now isn't gorgeous. All the paintings we've looked at tonight were wonderful. These are just tips to take you to that next, level if you want to do that. So, okay. Beautiful, beautiful painting. I was so excited to see that. That is, and here's another thing. So I'm sitting here going, oh, let's add more depth. Let's make those adjustments and add more depth to it. When you have something with that much detail, it's not as critical that you have everything else perfect. I'm telling you, stuff with tons of detail, the more detail you add, the more, I don't want to call them mistakes, but maybe things that you don't love about something, it hides. So it's so easy to look at something that you're doing tons of flowers and think, I'm not sure I want to put that, like that's going to take forever and it's going to be too hard. It's not that it's too hard. It is going to take forever. If you're willing to put that work in, like what Angelique did here, it doesn't matter that, like I would say, oh, make this darker, make that lighter. It still looks amazing. And you don't necessarily, your eye's not going to instantly go to it and go, that's off. You've got so much to look at and to keep the viewer entertained. So that's just a very cool thing about doing stuff that has this much detail. So very nice. Okay. So we've got a 36 by 40 from Nancy. I've got a few emails, so I've got to see through these. Okay. Let me find the folder. Are these the same? I think it's the same. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Okay. Nancy says, hi Lisa, I've been juried into my 4th solo art show in July 2026. My first 3 solo shows have been my landscapes. This one will be my surreal work. The title of the show is Smiles Welcomed. It's for all ages to wonder at and leave with smiles on their faces. Does this painting, Space Chickens, okay, you already know I like it, leave you smiling? Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, that absolutely, you have achieved that goal for sure. Let's see. I'm not sure if the chickens are hatching planets or space cities. How can I make it more humorous without being over the top? Is the color scheme eye-catching enough? And how is the composition working? Should I go more realistic or more cartoonish, maybe more abstract? Oh, okay. No reference photos were used. In short, how can I make this painting more memorable? Forgot to mention, it's a 36 by 40. This is huge. Okay. I mean, the hard part about here is you said, should I go more realistic, more cartoonish, maybe more abstract? You have 3 things here. This is 100% cartoon. There's no, I don't look at this and see realism really at all. I see cartoon. So cartoon or realism is kind of already out for this specific painting. Now, if you wanted it 3 by 40, I don't think you want 2 paintings that look that much the same, that large. But I also think going super large, I would probably take that opportunity to go more realistic so that you can get all that cool detail in there. And chickens, there are some hilarious photos of chickens that you look at and you laugh because when you've got the chicken zoomed in, like looking at the camera really close. Loki, not a chicken, but my fairy turkey, Indian ringneck, loves putting his head super close to the camera, and those photos are always hilarious. So if you're going for funny, making somebody smile, I feel like this painting is done and there's not really anything. Yes, it makes me smile. You nailed that. That definitely makes me smile. I think it's adorable. I don't have a lot of tips for it because it already feels like a cartoon, and cartoons aren't it's not really what I do. But I feel like you definitely hit the cartoon side of it. And so I would just lean into that on this specific painting. Because if you want to go into a more abstract, you want to go into more realism, I would start over. I would do not start over like toss this one, but I would start a new project. I think if you're going to be doing other things, yeah, see, Nick said I wouldn't change a thing on this one. Yeah, exactly. I feel, see, and it's interesting because John said purple may be lighter. I don't think I would. I might make the shadow on the side of the chicken darker, but the I don't think I would make that's going to be a personal preference for sure. I feel like if you go too light on that purple, the chickens won't stand out as much. So yeah, I mean, these definitely have that more cartoony look. You can always make, if you're trying to make something look kind of silly, that makes it look, yeah, DJ said I like it that dark. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards the dark myself. You can things always look cuter if the eyes are bigger. So let's just kind of mess with that to show you what I mean. I'm not saying this is what you should do because it may be perfectly like adorable or look better how it is. But that, like, if your aim is to try to make stuff cutesy, you know, make someone smile, you're kind of focusing, like you said, for all ages. Why aren't you working? You are definitely not working. Oh, and also you are not on the right thing. There we go. Big eyes are just freaking funny. And you can go even more into that. Oops, wrong. Ah, crap. Hopefully that doesn't screw that up. I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying if you're I would personally lean more into the cartoon style because it's already so cartoony that you're not going to make this realistic. That would kind of take a whole over, like you'd have to start over, and I don't think that that's worth doing. I think this is good how it is, and I would want to lean into what you already have. There we go. So as far as making someone smile or being kind of silly, bigger eyes, hopefully yours are the same size, or maybe not the same size. Actually, speaking of, let's go back to you. Why are you not doing the thing I want you to do? What did I undo? I'm on you. Oh, because did it again. Why does this keep coming back? Stop coming back. Oh, because I keep hitting undo and it undoes that too. I see what I'm doing. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, let's just get rid of you. Okay. So one of the things you can do for eyes that makes it kind of funny. These silly things definitely would make people smile. So, I mean, you can kind of play around with little silly things like that. I think I liked it better if both the eyes are the same myself. Let's do that again with same sized eyes. Or close to it anyway. I mean, you don't have to do them just like that. I'm just showing you bigger eyes tend to play up the cutesy aspect of things, but the little eyes are extremes. When you get into the cartoons, the extremes are what is going to make it cutesy. So the super tiny eyes, that kind of leans into that too. So anyway, yeah, I would not be going and making a bunch of changes to this. I think if you're looking to make more paintings for this show, I like the idea of doing chickens. Chickens make people laugh, and especially when you get those photos, like I say do some realistic ones too. Now, I don't know, you need to talk with the show. Do they want you to really focus on one style, or are they cool with you doing, like, here's something that's realistic, here's something that's cartoony? I don't know. Usually when you do shows, you kind of want to stay more like everything realism, everything cartoony. You can tell it's all the same artist, so there's that. But your work, I can always tell it's yours though. So even I think if you go more realistic, I think you still be okay. But yeah, for like with the chicken theme, there's some really funny, I mean, just look at chicken face on Pinterest or not Pinterest, Pixabay or Unsplash. And anytime, like you said, you didn't use a reference photo, yeah, I mean, you're going to get a cartoony look no matter what if you're not using a reference photo. That's pretty much a given unless you've been drawing, you know, if you've drawn thousands and thousands of chickens, you're going to be able to make them look fairly realistic, not as much so as if you had a reference or an actual chicken sitting in front of you, but you'll get, you know, you're talking thousands of the same subject over and over again to get to that point. So if you're not using a reference photo, you just lean into the fact that it's going to be cartoony. If you are kind of wanting more surreal, but still kind of realistic, always you're going to get a reference photo. And there are really funny ones though. Like I said, with the chicken super up close where the body looks like it's far away because the angle, like those would make for some really cool things as far as making people smile, because chickens, I think if you don't smile at chickens, we can't be friends because there's something wrong. But yeah, that, I don't, like I said, I don't have anything, I don't see anything on this where I'm like, I would change this, I would change that. Eyes are just something you can do to make something funny, but yours, because they're an extreme with being that small, that alone makes it pretty funny. So yeah, I'm thinking this is good, but yeah, I know that it's probably not that helpful, but it seems like you're kind of on the fence where I don't know. Now, this is just a general tip for anybody. Should I go more realistic, more cartoonish, or maybe more abstract? That is a decision you have to make before the first brushstroke hits that canvas. Before your sketch, you need to have an idea of where you're going with that. Otherwise, it's very common, especially in surrealism, to end up with something that's so in the middle where you're looking at it going, I don't know if that person just can't draw well or if it's supposed to be worked. You need to have an answer. It needs to be one or the other. It can't be, if you're kind of wishy-washy going, I don't know if I want this style or that style, the painting looks confused. It looks like it didn't have it will come out looking, well, confused. Yours looks like it intended to be a cartoon, so I think you're safe here. But watch that when you get into surrealism, it's so easy to have this idea, but if you're not, you need to lean all the way into whatever that choice is before you ever start. Otherwise, the end work can be very confusing to the viewer. I mean, it's confusing to you, so of course it's confusing to the viewer. Maybe sometimes you'll get lucky and that will come out being really awesome. But more often than not, it's probably going to come out, confusing everybody involved. And again, confusing people in art's a good thing if you intended to do it. But if you didn't, it doesn't land the same. Confusing somebody on purpose, like those two paintings, an on purpose confusion and I feel like I didn't nail it confusion, they don't feel the same to the viewer. So just a few tips there. But as far as make this painting more memorable, not really, because you're getting into more of a cartoony style, which is not something I specialize in. I love it. I love the brightness of his head flap. I think is so cute. Her, super cute. I like it. Yeah, I don't see anything specific that I would change, just things to keep in mind with future, whatever paintings you add, because it looks like you've got some time. So as you work on that show, things for making things cute, like anything worth oversized, anything extreme is usually going to make someone smile. So like you think of caricatures, even if it looks realistic, if a dog has long legs, make the legs a little longer. If it's got a long snoot, make the snoot a little bit longer, make the eyes a little bigger. Or if let's say it's a collie. Collies have like smaller, was it almond shape? But the smaller eyes, you don't want those big Labrador eyes on a collie. So make them a little bit extra small on that breed. Like you kind of take whatever aspects of that subject and that stand out to you and make it a little more extreme. Is the head flap on the chicken a little bit like flopping to the side? Make it flop even more. Make it look like emo hair. You know, you just go with a little bit more extremes. Terry wants a polar bear in acrylic. Let me write that. Oops, wrong pen. Write that down if my tablet wants to behave. Why are you not behaving? You're just being weird. I think my tablet is at a place where it needs to restart. It is freaking out. Okay. And while I'm doing this, let's go ahead and restart that thing. Restart. You have not been restarted in a very long time. Okay, like months, many months. Okay, next. We have, and do we have anything? It's a baby bird. Okay, we've got a couple of the submissions for tonight's too, so we'll be good. Did make sure nothing went to spam. No, I think we're good. Okay, back to critiques. We have Elizabeth. So let's download these. Let's pull you, and you. Oops. Okay. Whoa. And this. Okay. So let's read what we have to say about this. Dang, before we get started. Elizabeth says, hi, Lisa, I had to work up the nerve to send you this one to critique. I'm so anxious. Well, you definitely don't need to be. This is one of the most recent colored pencil projects that was inspired by the animated series Over the Garden Wall. I've attached my reference photo, which is an edited mashup of purchased stock photos and my own photography, along with a picture from the show, in case you aren't familiar with it. Thank you, because I was not, so that is helpful. This piece was done with Caran d'Ache Luminance and Faber-Castell Polychromos on Strathmore colored pencil paper. Ooh, that stuff is rough. But the fact that you got this good on that, good job, because that paper is not my friend. That is not easy to work with, so very well done. I used the burnishing technique with Luminance Colorless Blender. I was going for a realistic version of the animation. What would the show look like in real life? I'd love to get your feedback on areas of improvement. My next skill is to learn to use OMS, which will speed up my blending. Skills with brushes don't come naturally, though, so I always default to the Colorless Blender, even though it takes longer. So the funny thing with Colorless Blender, just don't have a lot on it. When you're first learning, use very, very little OMS on your brush and have that brush, like, if it's almost dry. That way, if the brush is too wet, it does speed it up. But if it's too wet, you're creating brush strokes and it gets messy and it's a little bit harder to control. When you're first starting, if you are struggling, you're kind of like, ooh, I'm afraid of using your brush, use less OMS on it. Keep that brush nearly dry and just kind of increase how much OMS you use as time goes on and you get more comfortable with it. So just a little tip there. See, I need to be sharing these tips with you guys. I don't know why I don't think to mention them in videos more. I need more. This is the sort of thing I want to start talking more about on Patreon, with little things like that. Anyway, let's see. Thank you so much for this critique opportunity and for sharing your knowledge with the world. You'll never know how much you helped me, and I'm so glad to be a part of the community you've built. Oh, thank you. This is Elizabeth. So let's look at, oh my gosh, I love this so much. I've got nothing I would change on this. Sorry. I mean, you burnished, so you're not like, I always say make the darks a little darker, you know, whatever, but there's nothing. And I know that's not what you're looking. Okay, let me look. Maybe there's something. I'm not seeing it right now. I love this so much. Okay, one thing. This branch on the bird looks like it's just as close to me as the bird, so it almost makes the bird look like a unicorn. I would tone that down in the shadows. Push it back so it's not so defined. So I lied. I've got a few things. Let's take a look really quick. So here is the Over the Garden Wall, which I'm glad you sent because I had not heard of it. I don't have TV. Here is, oh, this is so good. Okay, see, when I look at the original, like, your hat looks so much better. Your lighting on that is excellent. I love what you did on the pot. Oh my gosh. That is awesome. I might make the darks a little bit darker on some of the trees in there, just because you want, when you want that shiny metal look and reflection, if you can hype up the contrast a little bit more, I would. Your frog is far superior. You're like, all of this is so, you did such a good job pulling all of this together. The leaves, I love that you didn't go crazy with the detail on the ground here, because it would have pulled apart from everything. The rock, like, and that looks like a rock. Like, when I first looked at that, my first thing was, that's a photo. Like, because I just looked at the rock first and it was like, oh yeah, that's the photo, that's the reference. Like, man, this is good. The clean, yeah. DJ said, wow, super work tonight for sure. Absolutely. Your lines are so clean, and that is a big deal for this style. Like, I love how controlled you are here. The detail you did in the tree, love it. Like in that you've got this shadow here looks so much better than the reference photo. It gives you that depth. I'm glad that you didn't just take like mid-range your lights in here and just continue that all the way down. It looks like there's separation there. Like you can see that this is now coming out this way. So well done. I love this. The only couple of things I would say, maybe a little bit more, I wouldn't even do more shading on the bird. I lied. The only thing that I'm seeing that I really would like to be a little bit different, one, maybe more, see all these little guys in the background? You've got some light sun poking through. I would like to see, and it's not worth going back and changing. Just like if you're looking for things in the future, if you're going to have bits of the background showing through, I would probably pull a little bit more with the little dots, a few extra light coming through, sky coming through the trees. I think that would look really cool. But typically when it comes to landscapey type things, I want this to be a bit separate from this. I would want the foreground to be a little bit lighter. The thing is, I don't want it lighter here because I don't want to lose, maybe a little lighter you could go, not a lot, because I wouldn't want to lose the detail and the contrast you have everywhere else. It's pretty good, but maybe a little, just a few maybe pebbles or something that's a little bit lighter here so that it can fade and kind of get darker out there. Because right now your lights here are the exact same as in the foreground, and whenever you're trying to do something where you're getting into that landscape, you want variation, whether it be lighter in the background and darker in the foreground. Sometimes that's the case, sometimes it's the opposite. So I'd like a little bit more variation there. Like when you get into landscapey things, I'm getting super nitpicky because there's not much to critique on this. But the one thing, and this is something that I would probably personally would go and change. Hold on. I would do, you are not on. Let's zoom in. This branch, see how that's coming out of his head like that? The other side isn't as much. I would certainly tone this down. So we're right about there. I'm going to drop that a little bit more. I'm going to go not quite that light. And this is not the brush stroke that I want. Just kind of push that back. And let's actually pull some of... like just kind of in the background a little bit more, so it's there. It just doesn't need to be that close because it's just let that fade a little bit. That will help the bird's face to not quite have the branch, like the branch just felt like it was the same distance. Hi. See what a difference that makes when you push that back. And it's minor. It's like such a minor thing, but it's going to make the bird feel closer. Those branches feel right next to him, feel like they're attached, like they're at the exact same space. So pushing that back would make a big difference. God, there's so much to look at. There's so much to love about this piece. Like, it's wonderful. The turtle, you might want to go with a slightly more green or make him stand out a little bit more. He does kind of blend in with the stump, but maybe that's what you want. Maybe, that also adds a little bit of depth because it pushes him back. So it's not like, I'm just nitpicking because there's not really much that I would critique on this. The whites on the pot, I might make a little bit brighter white on some of the highlights, just so it looks like you've got them here where it's like super bright white. I might go a little bit brighter on the other side. I know it's not like that on the reference photo, but I would probably pull a little bit more, maybe not, because it looks awesome. Just to make it stand out a little bit, either darken up behind it a little bit more. Like if we can just kind of set that back so that the pot stands out just a little bit, like not a lot. This obviously would pull that in. It's not a big difference, but it's going to make the pot stand out a little bit more if you can kind of get a little, like, why am I not clicking that? I'm Nothing has happened. Oh, because something popped up over here. That makes sense. See how we can kind of push the pot forward, make it separate a little bit, so you don't even have to add the highlights to the pot. If we just darken what's behind it a little bit, be a bit more controlled than I was. So yeah, those would be kind of my only changes. Tone down the stick behind the bird's face. And that's not something like behind the back, it doesn't bother me as much. It's the face. You want to watch the faces that you're not being drawn so much away from them. That branch was definitely kind of taking you off, and it felt too like they were right here instead of the branch being back here. So by just toning it down a little bit, pull some of those greens, let it just kind of fade a little, soften that, but wonderful work. Okay. That's so cool. Beep, 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 beep. Next, so this is the last of the critiques, and then we have the stuff you guys submitted tonight. So let's go through you and you. Where's the other one? Oh, there it is. Buck, buck. Oh, this is cool. The lighting is so cool. Okay, let's switch places though. I don't know why I always put the reference mode on that side. Okay, this is from Shanique. Shanique, if I'm butchering that, I apologize. I'm really bad. She said, hello, I joined Patreon as soon as I saw the notifications. That was last week. Length 10 inches by 8 inches, acrylic on expression canvas titled Frank. I love the name. This is my second ever attempt at a pet portrait. Wow, you should have seen my second attempt. Part of me is glad and part of me is really sad that digital cameras, like that was all film cameras back then. And so I don't have a lot of photos of my original pet portraits. They weren't this good, let me tell you. Not even close. And I am relatively new to painting as I always preferred drawing. My goal is realism and I really struggled with this piece. The fur in the reference photo has way more colors than my painting, and the bright white fur intermingled with the gray was hard to replicate. I can see where I need to darken it up a bit too. Luckily, I haven't varnished it yet. Hey, I'm so excited to get better at painting, so your critique is much appreciated. Sincerely, Shani. Oh, Monica, aka Monica. Okay. Okay, are you here tonight, Monica? I think I saw you in chat. I think you're here. I don't know. So let's talk about color. Color, I often say, does not really matter. You know, it's about your values. But when you get into pet portraits, if you're painting this for somebody, they're going to want it to be as close to the pet as possible. Now, in this case, it's possible the lighting was just so warm, it was making the cat look more brown. But it's also possible the cat really is more brown. So you said more colors, but it's almost like this gray here is blue. That would be considered blue in an animal. Well, I mean, already called blue, but okay, Monica's here. So when you go with black and white, we often think of that when we're like, oh, it's a gray animal, we're going to use that. That would be more of a color. Let's say you've got a collie, Australian Shepherd. You've got that like the blue color. We call it blue. It looks, it's really just gray, but it's such a cool gray. I know, baby bird. So the first thing. And this, you can just glaze over it. The great thing, you've got the detail. So a couple things. One, the fact that you already have the detail in here by glazing and tinting the color, if the cat looks like the photo, assuming. If you glaze that, you're going to tone down the harshness, that what you're complaining about with the fur not looking quite right. That's why it's too harsh. So it makes it look not as soft as it really is. So by glazing over, it tones it down and you change the color. You just solve two problems with one glaze. I recommend, sorry, I have an itchy eye is what I recommend. I would recommend do it in lighter layers. So don't do like a heavy, thick coat of paint. Do it as a lighter layer and do multiple layers of glazes if you need to. So if we look at the colors here, look at that. It's brown. It's not even gray where yours has it's blue gray. So now, again, if you like the blue, if the blue looks correct to you, that's fine. I just know, like my experience with painting cats like this, they usually have that more, like, look at all the grayish brown tones. When you get into this shadow, now the shadow starts getting into more, like that one right there. Now we've got that cool, closer to a blue gray, but it's only in this area right here. And then right here, you've got areas with that more bluish, kind of bluish purple, really, but areas of that. But most of this, they're browns. And so I would achieve that by, and I think I did this on my ravens. I think you can see me. I'm pretty sure that was recorded. Sometimes I forget to hit record. But I glazed purples and blues and those colors over it. And I would do the same thing here. Look at these colors. That's a purple gray. We've got, I mean, we've got a huge combination of warmer and cooler tones. So this is what we want to watch. And right now, yours has a very flat feel to it because it's the same all the way through. None of it really feels like it's in shadow. It's just all the same. Whereas if we look at this guy, so let's forget the color right now, but let's focus a little bit more on what I would do in addition to glazing that tone. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I gotta itch my ear. I'm allowed to itch my ear. Doesn't mean I want to scratch your face. No. New. Whoops, no, not new. That. I'm tired. I'm tired. That's the end of that sentence. I'm tired. New layer. And I can't see. I can't see either way. Okay. So let's look at the shadows. We've got the direction of the fur. So much stuff on here. So fur, and actually I said we're not going to talk about color. I do want to talk about it a little bit. Look at here. So like a silver white. I mean, that is almost as white can go. You know, you're actually near on a lot of that. You are close. A little bit lighter you could go with, but you are close. Okay. So let's get, I'm just going to focus more on the values. So look at black, brown, but I mean dark. Let's start pulling some of these darks out here. Look at this. This whole area is actually, let's switch brushes for that. We're pushing that leg back. I'm just going to use this really quick for the shading for a bunch of this. Watch what happens when we start pushing all of these areas back. And I'm not being perfect, or, you know, be more precise with yours than what I'm going to do here. I'm just doing this quick. See, one of the reasons your lights don't look light enough is because your darks aren't even close to dark enough, like not close at all. And look how easy it is, because all you need to do is come back through with what you've got, define some of these ridges a bit more. We've barely done anything and we're already starting to get more form. If your darks aren't dark enough, there's no way the light is going to have that look of the glow. Be controlled. I'm being messy. I want you to like use your rake brush, your liner brush, your rounds, whatever you need to do. Your texture of the fur is actually pretty close. You're doing good. I mean, I would put a little bit more detail into some of it, refine what you already have a bit more, but you're really, really good here. This entire eye needs to be much darker. I'm just using black. You need to use a different color, but like actually use the gold tones. But look at how dark that needs to be so that this one is light enough. If this is too light, the other one doesn't look like the light is hitting it. When you do, and this is such an amazing reference photo, but the thing is, if you don't get, yeah, the background too. Somebody said something about the background. I really like the background. It's such a good, the color you chose is wonderful. I haven't even touched the lights, but look at how much already, look at the difference. And this is just making those darks way darker. And the other thing is, look how much softer the fur already looks, because this is what would happen if you glaze it. You mute the contrast between the lights and the darks. You kind of bring them together a bit. So you get that softer look. It's not so harsh. You're accomplishing both things with just a glaze. Now, I'm just using like a black brown. You don't go that dark. I mean, don't just, well, you could do it with just black and still improve on it, but I would probably glaze first, get the color tone about where you want it to be, or even just do the darks first and then glaze your brownish tones over all of that. Now, remember, when you glaze, no white. If you put white in there, you just made it look foggy. We don't want that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make your white brighter, but that's not a glaze. That's separate. The glaze is that translucent or, you know, very transparent look. What? I hear you talking over there. It's a sweet baby, huh? What is happening? Let's see. We have like a line that comes down and over. Something going on over here. And then when we get into those light areas, same thing. We can make these a little like more defined. Now this is actually not a straight line going all the way down. This kind of breaks up a little bit here. And then of course define the little whisker holes and the whiskers. That is not the brush to use for a whisker, but you get the point. So already, I mean, look at the difference and how much depth you can get just by, I'm not even fixing the color of the cat. I'm just fixing the darks. You've done the hard work. The hard stuff's already done. You've got the detail, you've got the direction and the way that you want your fur clumped. Everything's good in here. This is the super, super easy thing to fix. Glaze to correct the color, so I would get those brownish tones, unless the cat does look that blue to you. And it may in different lighting, so you can change. Like, that's not a must. That's just if the owner is like, it's really more of a brownish tone, that doesn't look like my cat, so that's where I would glaze. If not, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But the shadows, that is like an absolute, it just changes everything. Now you get that interesting light. Your light can't stand out enough because your darks aren't dark enough. If you get your darks darker, you just fix the glow, and I barely added any white. I did highlight the whites a little bit more. Well, you think that's funny too? Stop laughing. I highlighted it a little bit more, but mainly look how much darker too. I mean, it's significantly darker, and you can do this as basically a glaze, or because you're working in acrylics, you've seen me use the fine mist sprayer. I think mine's over here because I was using it for my jumping spiders yesterday. Now I wonder where it went. But anyway, yeah, that's missing. Did you move it, sir? Anyway, you can use the fine mist sprayer, kind of keep it wet, and use a mop brush and kind of soften it. If you have not watched it lately, the raccoon painting that I did. It's an acrylic painting, and the techniques I used for painting that, exactly the same as you would use for this. And so if you're glazing and you're just kind of toning things down, you're going to thin that paint with water. Too much water and it's kind of beating up, way too much water. You want it like, I don't know, whole milk consistency, about like that. Like you don't want it super translucent. You just don't want it, you don't want to you don't want it dripping, but you don't want it so thick that you can't really blend. So the way that I blended and worked on that raccoon is the same way that I would do on this cat. Beautiful reference photo, beautiful painting, just a few minor tweaks and it'll be that much better. I cannot believe this is your second pet portrait. Why did not look like that? Let me tell you. Actually, really quick before, and we'll get in, I've only got 10 minutes. I've got a couple of these to go through, but I just want to give you guys a quick, just kind of motivation here. When you are painting and you're like, I'm never going to get as good as this artist. I'm never going to be that realistic. I pulled this up for another video that I'm editing. Where did I put it in here? I saved it. I came across it today. I'm like, I have to show you guys this again. Oh, why are you doing that? Don't do that. What are you doing? Can I bring you over just this way? Does this work? No, we'll do it that way, not in Photoshop, because I don't know what your problem was. Let's see, is that working okay on this? Yeah. 1999. I wanted that to look like a realistic angel. You know what it doesn't look like? A realistic anything. My goal was realism. What I achieved was like some Tim Burton, not even good Tim Burton, some flat, like if you were at a place where you're painting, and so that's why I'm like looking at your pet portrait going, holy crap, mine did not look like that. Mine was not that good. This is where I, in 1999, I was, you know what's funny? Was that 1999? I feel like that was older than that. I don't know. I was teaching already by then. I wasn't teaching people. People took me longer to get good at. I was teaching like landscapes and seascapes, so that I could do. That I was fine with. But the waters, whatever. But anyway, 2015. So 16 years later. Now it didn't take me that long to get that. It was probably 5 years later that I got to where I was really good with portraits, or comfortable with them. But the point is, when you look at something and you're like, I feel like I'm never going to be like, I don't have it in me. I'm not that talented. It's genetics. No, it's not. There were no genetics involved in the first mess. No. It's your determination, your practice, what you learn, the lessons you take, the classes, what tutorials are you following? Well, you guys are all following mine, so you'll be good. But like, there's a lot of 2 beginner tutorials on YouTube that are they're more crafts. It's not even like, let's paint something realistic. Here's toll painting that I'm going to call not toll painting, but that's really what I'm doing. You're never going to get to this, you're never going to get realistic if you're doing toll painting lessons. You guys that get art, but somebody else who's viewing this might be and not understand why they're not getting better. You got to try the hard stuff. You got to step out of your comfort zone. And yeah, you can go from and again, I'm not saying that my cartoony Tim Burton wannabe, like, you're not looking going, that's the worst thing in the world. I mean, I've seen worse. The point is I wanted it to look realistic like the little girl. I mean, that's the level of realism I wanted. I just couldn't achieve it when I started. So and I've been painting for a while by then. But anyway, just a few things to remind you guys of, don't be discouraged by things not coming out quite how you want. So we've got a couple things. We've got Deborah sent this one. So let's take a look. She had to send it sideways. You just want me to do extra work? Hold on one second. I can't work Photoshop, right? Ask Joseph. Image, rotation, counterclock. Wait, come back. See, I can't, nope, counterclock. Nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? See what I mean? You think that's funny? Are you laughing too? Image rotation. Woo, we got it. Okay. Oh, this is off to a good start. So Deborah said, I used multiple reference photos of this to kind of blend them together, but most were on a very dark background, and I wanted it to be a lighter background. I'm very happy with the clownfish, but I'm struggling with getting the anemone tentacles to look really realistic. Please help with any tips you have. I've not burnished anything, and I'm using Inktense paper for this project. Oh, so you got lots of layers ahead of you. Okay, couple things. I know you said you're happy with the clownfish, but you sent it to me, so I'm going to critique. You need blues in that clownfish. You don't leave whites straight white. It looks very flat. Hold on, because I actually have a colored pencil on this same gray paper, if I can find it, that I think will be helpful. Open a new window, and where did I save it? It was a collage. Did I save it as that? Did I colored pencil? I did them as live streams years ago. They might be saved under print or sale. It's worth the wait. It makes it way easier for me to talk about what I want to about the clownfish before we move on to the anemone. My answer is really, here we go. My answer is going to be the same for both. So pretty much the same paper. Same can, I mean, it's Canson Inktense. Mine's more of a tan, but look at how much blue and how much purple is in those clownfish. Clownfish, I know, because those two fish are actually looking over there begging me for food at the moment. Clownfish, when they're in the water, I mean, I'm looking at mine right now, I have the blue lights on. There's no white at all, none, because the tint of the lights, the way they're hitting right now. So I like to leave just the very highlight with white, not much. So like the top of his head, the top of the fin, this portion as we get down into here, this starts getting blues. Actually, purples look better because of the color of your anemones. You've got to pull some of that in there. We also want to, and see how I'm leaving the white on the top, leave somewhat, I'm being super sloppy with this, but just pull some colors into that. It will look far more realistic. And the funny thing is, my piece here is very similar to the color palette you're using. So you've got purples and pinks in the anemone. Pull that into the white of the clownfish, because right now he doesn't feel like he's a part of that scene, and that's going to fix it and make it, it'll just add so much depth. One of the problems with fish is that they look flat. They always look flat. Clownfish are chonkers. Well, mine are chonkers. They're not starved. They're thicker. Let him be like, this helps give you that dimension so you don't want him to look flat. Now yours, luckily, the angle you did, I love this angle, so that's really helpful. I would pull, even if you look at mine, the oranges in mine, look at how mine has, I would use purple. Like if you've got Derwent Light Fast purple or like those dark burgundies, Caput Mortem is a great one. If you've got polychromos, get some of those oranges a little bit deeper so it's not that like bright. This is what he would look like if you pulled him out of the water. I guess that's where I'm going with this. A fish out of the water, flat orange, you've got the highlights. It's not like you don't have shadows, but it's the bright orange. That is not what they look like when they're in the water. And so you want to get, let's put them in the water. Let's not suffocate the poor fish. The next thing, the drawing, the shading, I love where you've got the highlight on the face. You're doing great there, but I would just make some of the darks in here on the belly. Just get some like Caput Mortem or purples, burgundies, maroons, any of those that do not shade with black. That will look like poop. So now on to the anemone. What you're doing is great. You just want to hype up the contrast. Now, two things. See how right here it's way light because those ones aren't done yet. I would leave those lighter than this section. I would darken these, leave these lighter, and it's going to give you really interesting light, because if you make everything even, like let's say you went this dark on everything, you just flattened out the anemone. Because you haven't done much yet, you actually unintentionally made your life way easier. Leave these, get some darks in there. You definitely need to get some darks in there. You've got the start of some of the shadows and such. Get some, but make these way darker, like dark purple, leave some of the highlights. I don't mean make solid. You want variation. Let me pull up an anemone photo. I think I can make this make more sense. Let's see if I've got any that are good. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. None of these are super amazing. This one kind of, I don't know. This one, are you going to freak out on me again? No, you should. Okay, look at this anemone. That obviously your photo is way better. But look at how deep those darks are compared to the highlights. You want that variation in there with those. Now, my biggest tip for you, one little anemone tentacle at a time. I don't think they're called tentacles. I don't know what they're called. But one at a time. Don't try working on this whole section. one at a time. Shading. Get your reference photo. And if we look at here, this is the cool thing. So the way that light bounces, I'm looking at my tank right now, the way that the light is bouncing all over and reflecting, it's not evenly lit because of the ripples of the water and the way that the light comes through and how those ripples on the water surface affect the shadows and such underneath. So when you get in here, look at, oh, what am I doing? That's not what I wanted. Look how we've got like shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight. Like it skips. You've got all of these interesting variations in the way that the light is hitting. And that's what I'd like to see on yours. Get variation. Where is the highlight? Where's the shadow? Right now, yours are like all the way around, all the edges highlighted and the center is dark. Some of those should be that way, but some should also be like random. Why is this super dark? Why is this area super light? It won't make sense, but that's how it is. Go look up photos of anemones, the way that the light hits and that dappled lighting we were talking about earlier. You really get that effect underwater because of the way, depending on how close it is to the surface, depending on a lot of factors. But the point is, it's never going to be perfectly smooth, evenly lit. So we want to make them look underwater, along with the fish that we're going to put underwater now. Get those darks. I would make this chunk right in here. This whole chunk, I would make way darker, but keep some of the highlights just as light as they are now, but make the darks like obviously darker. But this section, I would have more the contrast that you're having on this side. Like I would kind of finish this like you did here, but then make this one that much darker. I think that's going to give you really interesting, it makes the ones behind the clownfish look like they're going behind. So, yeah, really, really good work. You're off to such a good start with this. You definitely have to share it with us when it's finished because this is amazing. But one tentacle at a time is my tip there. Don't try to do two. Don't try to do three. It's frustrating. When you've got this much detail, it is, I don't enjoy painting anemones. They're annoyingly tedious. And I may do 2 or 3 tentacles at a time because I start rushing through it, but I've done enough of them. When you're starting and you're kind of like getting the hang of it, one at a time, maybe by the end you'll feel comfortable doing 2 or 3, but when you start off, it's just going to make you so much more comfortable to get that finished. But great work. Okay. And then the last one tonight, I think it's one more. I know we're at the end, but we've got one more. Let's just go ahead and do that. This is from Kelly. I think, Kelly, wasn't it you who had the suggestion? Might have been. I may be mixing up names. I want to say it was Kelly, but I could be wrong. Let's close that. I know we're going a little bit over tonight. Oh, this is pretty. I love, love, love that you knew to pull purple. I need to shrink these. To pull purple instead of painting it white because of the sunset factor. Like, oh, good job. So, oh, that's so good. Apparently, I turn into a weird witch when I get excited. Okay, a smoking witch. Let's see. Kelly said, here's my work in process that I'm completely stuck on. This is a 24 by 18 in oil, so big. My goal is realism but dreamy. The field will be filled with wildflowers, which I don't want to start until I get my horse right. I want a sense of breezy sunset with backlit glow of the sun on her. There are so many layers. I feel like I'm just making it worse with each one. It's hard to post because it's just awful. It is not just awful. Is there hope? There is absolutely hope. And you're waiting on the flowers, I think, is a bad idea. Because the horse is the focus. I like to get my background down first because it makes it easier in many cases to judge the subject. Now, like I did those ravens, I did the ravens first, but that's because I already knew for sure I wanted those ravens and I was very lost on what the flowers were going to be. So it was very hard for me to do that first. I hadn't settled on anything yet. That's why I did that more out of order. I would start putting those flowers in because once you get those flowers in, that may completely change some of the decisions you're going to make on the horse, but the horse is the focus, not the flowers. So I would be getting those flowers in and be careful because the flowers, you don't want them so detailed or taking away. Those are kind of pushed back. I love the background landscape. That softness is beautiful. Probably pull a little bit more orange into it though. The orange is so orange, or maybe soften the orange a little bit. Maybe get some lighter colors might help. But anyway, if it were me, I would be putting those flowers in while you contemplated what you wanted on the horse. So at least you're working on something right now. You know you want flowers. Get the part you know. This is what I learned doing the Raven. And not learned, I knew, but I mean, I was reminded myself when doing the Raven. Because normally when I start a project, I know where I'm going start to finish. When I started those ravens, I had no freaking clue. I knew I wanted ravens. I knew I wanted above and underwater. And I knew I wanted a crab. I had an idea I wanted a crab. I wasn't even sure on that. The flowers, I wasn't sure on yet. Like when you are stuck on a painting and you're like, I don't know where to go with this. I feel sick. Don't bite me, little turd. No, ow, get off if you're going to bite. But when you're stuck on a painting, work on the part you know you have the answer to. And while you're working on it, some other things tend to fall into place and make it easier to figure out what you want. So in this case, I would start putting some of those flowers on because let's say you start pulling magentas or something in those, you're going to want to pull those into the horse anyway. In this case, that horse needs orange. He needs oranges reflecting on him. He needs way more of the highlights. So actually, the painting that I just did of the horse, I keep been doing that to you guys all night, my painting, but it's just easier for me to pull them up and I can share them without worrying about copyright because I own them. Let's see, oils. Let me pull this up. So when you're dealing with that really strong light in the background, let's pull, where was it? Oils. I don't know my alphabet. Oils, found it. Now horse, this one. Now where is the actual horse? Was that the finished painting? I don't even know if that's the finished painting. I don't think it was. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I love when I have a finished painting and I'm like, I can't tell the finished painting from the reference photo. I feel like I got the contrast right. Okay. Look at like how defined the black and, or, you know, the shadows and the highlights are on this. When you've got that lighting where there's that glow you're going for, play that up. That needs to be like a really strong thing. Now, in this case, you're using a reference photo that is not even close to this lighting. So I would go find horses and sunsets. I mean, go look up Unsplash. Well, you know, and you can be finding these reference photos while you're working on flowers because you know you want flowers. Start the part you have the answer to. Don't wait until you solve this problem. You already have this, you know that part. Start from there. So let's let me see really quick if I can find anything decent. Not a hose and sunset. Horse. Sunset. Oh, those are just all a bunch of silhouettes. That is not helpful. I don't want, this isn't silhouette-y. This is not what I'm going for here. But I would, oh, this actually, so this is somebody, this is a photographer who's selling it. But we're just going to look at it over here because it gives you an idea. We're not actually copying his. We're going to pull that over. I just want to kind of get an idea of the lighting that we might consider. If you're getting me grumpy, don't bite me. Just flies up and bites my face. So this is a photographer, so don't, you know, go copy this. But we can get an idea of the lighting situation. Okay, this site sucks. Stop. Close preview. We can get an idea of, look at how the colors in the sunset, how much of those need to come into the horse. The whites, this helps a lot because you can see white and you can see the, well, this is bright. Do not know, you're biting. Get. I think you're hangry. Oh, here, if you need snacks, will that make you calm down? Come here. French fry, come. He's like, the live stream's supposed to be over, Mom. Pay attention to me. Where did those pistachios I cut earlier? Did you get to them? And I didn't, you did, didn't you? I think he ate them. Oh my gosh, probably, yeah, when I wasn't paying attention. All those pistachios, you helped yourself to. Well, you can have buckwheat then. You've had enough pistachio. Come here. Here, you can have snacks. Is that why you're biting me in the face? Oops. Go get snacks down there. Don't bite me again. Okay. So anyway, this gives us an idea. And because we're not copying his work, you've got your painting. It's not the same. You're just looking, and you can look anywhere. This is not, like I often talk about, don't violate an artist, you know, a photographer's copyright. Don't violate anyone's copyright. Absolutely not. But that's not what you're doing. You can look for any photo to get an idea of the lighting situation going on. How would the glow hit? How bright would that be? Now yours, you want it to be a bit brighter. Another thing that I would do is find artists who have created, you said you're going for that more, what did you say? realism but dreamy. Find an artist who has produced that style that you're looking for. What colors did they use? How did they blend? Where did they have a harsh line versus a soft line? Because that may give you more of that look you're going for too. You know, was it more fine detail, looser? Find things to look at to give yourself an idea. Let's see what else we might find to give us an idea on the colors. Now, I would make yours more extreme for sure. Like that one, that looks like bad AI. Is that? Hold on, let's find out together. That is really bad AI. I can see the hills. They try to, wow, that's bad. Randall Nyhoff, you're a tool. I can't believe you're trying to sell that. It's not even AI, it's just bad Photoshop. Like really bad Photoshop. Let's see. What other, oh, this one's interesting. This is somebody who posted on Reddit. Now, I would not put that glow, the shine right there. I don't think can I zoom? Yeah, I can a little bit, not much. I would not put the shine, obviously, but look at the way the gold, the oranges are coming through on the edge of the face, on the edge of the hair that is falling through. So I would have some of that gold. Looking at this, I would be pulling some of that gold up into this area here, that orangey tone. That actually helps. Sir, if you came over here to bite me, I'm not really going to do much. You know that too. And I would make the darks a little bit darker. I would certainly, I think right now you're too mid-range. It's like you lean into whatever, wherever you're going with it. Get those darks darker, get the lights to be lighter. Right now we're all mid-range. The purples are mid-range and the purples are good. Good choice for sure. But get the blacks, develop the shading on the face. Where is the actual photo? Oh, heck, look at all this. Look at how dark you need to be in here. I mean, that is like a lot of darks. We've got a line on that neck and the shoulder is separate. Make sure that is clear. It's kind of weird the way yours is like here and then like make that all one. Get those darks. Work on the next thing I would do on the horse. So you said you felt like you were stuck. Well, this, you don't even need to worry about the lighting so much. Look at these darks in here, and that is the wrong brush. Oops. Look at like this, look how defined those darks are. Look how defined the ear coming down here is, where right now the ear is just like here and here. Get that definition in there. Whoops, there we go. This ear is a little too pointy back there. It almost looks like a wisp of hair. Thicken that up. These wisps, I like them. I would personally extend those out a bit more. I'm not sure if you were planning to include that. Okay, look at these hairs that are all over the place. I would definitely include these wisps because then you can include your guys going all over. Those are going to be those bright orange gold colors like we saw in that one photograph I showed you. You're going to have where they're catching in the light. I think that that's going to be kind of a cool, like really showing off that back glow. I would get some of the lights in here. I would have some of these being those wispy oranges, like really glowy. I would have some more of that glow color with the oranges along the edge of the face and have it kind of fade. I wouldn't use such a harsh line. I would probably let that orange fade a little bit into the shadows. So it's like, it's just soft, almost to where you feel like you're squinting because the light is hitting so strong. I would do that. But yeah, we need a lot more dimension because right now it feels very flat. We need all of this to just be more. Where are you going, sir? The darks need to be way, way darker through this. You're sliding down. I don't have sleeves on. And if you get this hair coming through there, you've got these great shadows you get to put under there, make those shadows really stand out. Yeah, yeah, this is going to be awesome. I definitely want to see you finishing this. Look up photos. And like I said, you don't have to find the perfect Unsplash or Pixabay because you're not copying it at all. There's no violation of copyright. You have yours that you're working on. You just need to see something that shows you the way the lighting would be in this scenario so that you can apply the lighting to yours. And you guys know how much of a stickler I am on copyright. That's not violating anything at all. You're just like, what does lighting look like? And you can do that with any photo on Google. One of very few cases that I'm going to tell you, go ahead and just find any photo to use, because you're not copying it. You've got your horse, you've got your everything, you've got the hair, you've got everything. You're just looking for lighting. So that would really help. But yeah, start on the shadows on the horse, get that in there, find photos that show you that lighting, and get to work on those flowers. But I would do flowers soon. I would, if you're really hesitant on the horse, I will get to those flowers now, because I want to know how I'm going to balance that out. Because if you go too crazy with the flowers, the horse is going to get lost in that, and you may have to make the horse darker. So, you got all these questions you got to answer. So anyway, this is beautiful. Go finish it. And yeah, we are done for the night. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for submitting. I will let you know when we're going to do our next. I know, Beep. I'm almost done, and then I can because you made one heck of a mess on my desk while I was not paying attention. But anyway, I will let you guys know when we're doing. It'll probably be a couple weeks before we do our next Patreon critique. So don't pinch me. Ow! Yeah, you're being too pinchy. So anyway. Where am I going? I got distracted by little bird pinches. So yes, I will let you know on that. We have next week will be Patreon only live stream. We're going to be doing, I don't know what we're doing yet. I need to pick something. But I'm excited because it's the whole new format. So we'll make everything better. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you guys for submitting. And I will see you both in Discord and on our Facebook group, in addition to actual posts on Patreon. So I think that's it. Bye. I don't know what buttons to hit. Where are my buttons?